therefore began to question Kapil as follows. Devahutirvacha nirvinnanitaram bhuman asad indriyas darshanat yena sambhavayamanena prapannadham tamah prabho. Devahuti Vacha. Devahuti said, Nirvinna, disgusted, Nitaram, very, Bhuman, O my lord, Asat, independently, Indriya, of the senses, Tarshanat, from agitation, Yena, by which Sambhav, Sambhavyamanena, being prevalent, Prapanna, I have fallen, Adham Tamah, into the abyss of ignorance, Prabhu, O my Lord. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Devahuti said, I am very sick of the disturbance caused by my material senses. For because of this sense disturbance, my Lord, I have fallen into the abyss of ignorance. Prabhu, purport. Here the word asad indriya darshanat is significant. Asat means impermanent, temporary, and indriya means senses. Thus, asat indriya darshanat means from being agitated by the temporarily manifest senses of the material body. We are evolving through different statuses of material bodily existence. Sometimes in a human body, sometimes in an animal body, and therefore the engagements of our material senses are also changing. Anything which changes is called temporary or asat. We should know that beyond these temporary senses are our permanent senses, which are now covered by the material body. The permanent senses, being contaminated by matter, are not acting properly. Devotional service, therefore, involves freeing the senses from this contamination. When the contamination is completely removed and the senses act in the purity of unalloyed Krishna consciousness, we have reached Satindriya or eternal sensory activities. Eternal sensory activities are called devotional service, whereas temporary sensory activities are called sense gratification. Unless one becomes tired of material sense gratification, there is no opportunity to hear transcendental messages from a person like Kapil. Devahuti expressed that she was tired. Now that her husband had left home, she wanted to get relief by hearing the instructions of Lord Kapila. We'll do the Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. First of all, my humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas. I seek your blessing. My obeisances to His Grace Madhupati Prabhu for engaging me in this seva so that I can do some Shastra reading. We are reading this pastime where Mother Devahuti is sitting in front of her son, Lord Kapil, and she is remembering the words of Lord Brahma, her father-in-law. The pastime so far has been that Mother Devahuti and Kardama Muni, they enjoyed their family life. After all, Kardama Muni completed his austerities and wanted to take the renounced order of life. And then we have read this wonderful pastimes of how, with his yogic power, he manifested a wonderful floating mansion which can take to the places. And then the numerous maid servants who were who came appeared and then decorated Mother Devahuti, prepared her for a union with Kardama Muni. And now they had 9 daughters and a son. And based on the instruction of his father, Kardama Muni married or gave in charity all his 9 daughters to different rishis to continue the creation or the progress of creation. and uh, and he left for renounced order. And now Mother Devahuti, as per our Vedic system, wife has a girl or a lady should always be under the protection of a man, and in the childhood should be under the protection of his or her father, brothers. Then once married, she comes under the protection of her husband, and after the husband's departure, uh, either from the world or renounced order or to the renounced order, then she stays in the protection of her son. So that is what is happening. And she is remembering the words from Lord Brahma. What was the words from Lord Brahma? We can take a look. 3.24 and 18, verse 18 and 19, where Lord Brahma is saying, Esha manavite garbham pravishta katamardana avidya shansaya granthim chitva gam vicharasyati. Hey Manavi, so daughter of Manu, the person who is in your garbha, he is the cat of Mardana. He is the same supreme personality of Godhead who killed Kaitav demon. And he will also avidya sansaya granthim chitva. After he will cut all your knots of ignorance and doubts, Gam vicharasyati. Gam means world. Then he will travel all over the world. You know? And Ayam Siddha Ganadhisha Sankhyacha Jais Susammata Loke Kapila Ityakhyam Gantam Te Kirti Vardhanam. No? And your son will be, no, uh, Siddha Ganadhisha. No? He will be the perfected soul, head of all. Dhisha, no, Adhish means the head, and Siddha. Siddha means perfect, Siddha Gana, among all the perfected souls, he will be the head of those. And he will Sankhya, Sankhyacharehi Susammata. And then he will be decimating the real knowledge, Susammata, as per, and then what kind of um, the Sankhya philosophy. You know? That's why Sankhya Chare, approved by the Acharyas uh, who are in the Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya philosophy is the analytical study of. So, next chapter, right now we are in chapter number 25 and it's building up. So, chapter number 25 and then primarily chapter number 26 is all about the analytical study of this material world, that how this entire right from the pradhana, where everything is uh, dissolved at the end of annihilation of this world, and then from there how it becomes mahat tattva, and then how uh, all the 24, or if we consider time, then 25 elements of consciousness, then 25 elements are created, and then this world is how the Purusha avatar comes in picture, how the demigods are created, all the description, very detailed, wonderful description um, will come. We have we have partly discussed that in the second canto, and then there's even more detailed description of that Sankhya. So that's the Sankhya philosophy, which Lord Kapila will uh, tell, and it is already foretold by Lord Brahma to Mother Devahuti, and he's saying that Kirti Vardhanam, he will increase your fame. So that's where Mother Devahuti is remembering that those words and what she is gonna do now, because Lord Brahma promised that Lord Kapila will, uh, you know, uh, dissolve all her doubts, clear all her doubts. So how do we clear all doubts? When we ask question. Our entire um, Shastra is filled with question and answer. So when we ask questions, we get answers. Srila Prabhupada has written a wonderful book called Perfect Question, Perfect Answer. We should read that. Uh, so what are the, and then all our Shastras are filled with perfect questions and then perfect answers. So that's where Mother Devahuti is starting her question. And the very first question she is saying is that I am very sick of the disturbances caused by my material senses. Now, Prabhupada is explaining in the purport that asat indriya darshanat. Asat, he is explaining that asat means something which is temporary. Now, why it is temporary? Because uh, currently we are in a human body, so our eyes are different, our our karmendriyas and then gyanendriyas all are different. you know but once we get a body of a different living entity, uh, these senses, these indriyas will change. For example, um, a tree has a very underdeveloped or um, less evolved senses, versus uh, when we go to the other living entities, then there are probably some more evolved senses. Some senses are more powerful than our senses. For example, um, a dog or a cat can actually see even in dark, but human eye is not meant for seeing in the dark. So in that sense we can say that a dog or a cat's eyes are more evolved than human eyes, because we can see in the dark also. Then there are some which are differently able. For example, a bat can sleep and then hang around upside down and then can stay there forever, but we humans, we cannot even uh, stand all day. But a horse is like somebody a sense whose legs and hands, or uh, how we say it, four legs are so strong that it never sits. So there are different bodily senses. Also, we see that once this soul leaves from the body is right there, and then all the senses, all the organs, sense organs are still there. The eye is there, the mouth is there, hand is there, but it is something which is of no use. So that means the that's just some kind of a extension on the real senses. We can those who are technical can understand. For example, we have a camera and camera body, and then we can put all different types of lenses on the camera body, or we can put different types of flash, and those act as extensions on the camera body. Okay, we can put a different type of microphone. So that capability of utilizing the microphone on camera, the capability to utilize the the lenses or the flash is already there in the camera body, but uh, it can be either enhanced or degraded, you know, so that we can serve a specific purpose. So similarly, this body is something which is covered right now with uh, a different set of senses. Okay, and these are because they are changing from one body to another. That's why these are called asat. That is um, temporary. Okay. Now, Srila Prabhupada but explains that there are sat indriyas as well, or eternal senses as well. And we can that reminds me about this verse from Brahma Samhita 5.32. Angani yasya saklendriya vrittimanti pashyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadujjala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Angani Yasya Saklendriya Vrittimanti. Whose so what are the Sadindriyas? Krishna has Sadindriya. No? And what is the property of a Sadindriya? The property of a Sadindriya is that um, one sense can perform the action of all the other senses as well. Angani yasya saklendriya vrittimanti. It possesses the functions of all the organs. That's so. If we see, there is Acharyas explained that there is no difference between, just like there is no difference between the drop of an ocean and the ocean uh, in the quality. The same uh, the same composition which is of the ocean is in the drop of an ocean as well. The difference is of the quantity. So similarly, because the soul is part and parcel of Krishna, once it gets devoid of all these bodily conception and then reaches to the uh, ultimate goal, it's Golokadam, then there is no Asat Indriya. And then we get the Sat Indriya. And then that Sat Indriya is the, what is the property of Sat Indriya? That with uh, one Indriya, you can perform the function of any other Indriya. And now what should we then, what should we do? How do we perform, or what should we do with those different Indriyas? So we give an example here. Prabhupada is explaining that um, devotional service, and I wanted to bring, I'm sorry, this is causing me trouble. New system. I'm remembering the pastime of Ambarish Maharaj. I'll just read the translation. Wonderful, worth singing this verse from 9.4, 18 to 20. 9th canto, 4th chapter, 18. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayo vachansi vaikuntha gunanu varnane karau harer mande marjanadishu shruti chakaru achyuta satkathodaye. Similarly, so I'll just read the translation that what we should do with our indriyas. No, the same thing which is the example set by Maharaj Ambarish. That Maharaj Ambarish always engaged his mind in meditating upon the lotus feet of Krishna. Mind is there are some gross senses and then there are some subtle senses. Mind is the one of the subtle senses. His words in describing the glories of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the Lord's temple, and his ears in hearing the words spoken by Krishna or about Krishna, either Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam or such texts. He engaged his eyes in seeing the deity of Krishna. His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj, he mentions that sometimes devotees, when they go to temple, they, right when they come in front of the Lord, they close their eyes and then, start meditating. Maharaj says that's ridiculous. When you are in front of Archa Vigraha, you should have darshan. Starting from the lotus feet, slowly move up to the lotus face. But you should not close your eyes in front of Krishna. No, close eyes when there is something which is not worth seeing, nonsense is going on, you close your eyes, you close your ears. But when there is Krishna Katha going on, we keep our ears open. When there is deity darshan, then we should open our eyes. So Ambarish Maharaj is engaging his eyes in seeing the deity of Krishna, Krishna's temples and Krishna's places like Mathura and Vrindavan. He engaged his senses of touch in touching the bodies of the Lord's devotees. He engaged his sense of smell in smelling the fragrance of tulasi offered to the Lord, and he engaged his tongue in tasting the Lord's prasad. He engaged his legs in walking to the holy places and temples of the Lord, his head in bowing down before the Lord, and all his desires in serving the Lord. I was listening to this class today morning, and Prabhuji was explaining that the gate to Golokadham is very small, so that one has to, bow down, one has to lower down his head before can enter. So we should keep this practice of bowing down before the Lord. Okay. Indeed, Maharaj Ambarish never desired anything for his own sense gratification. He engaged all his senses in devotional service in various engagements related to the Lord. This is the way to increase attachment for the Lord and be completely free from all material desires. So, we all know this Navda Bhakti, and Similarly, here, Amrish Maharaj's example is being given. Then our indriyas become sat indriyas. Then there is no difference. If we are performing, we are using these senses for performing the only the activities which are for Lord's pleasure, then there is no difference between living in Goloka and living in this material world. So that is what is being questioned by Mother Devahuti, that um, I'm very sick with the disturbances caused by and caused by material senses, because because of this sense disturbance, my Lord, I have fallen into the uh, abyss of ignorance. Apuryamanam achalam pratishtham. We also know this verse from Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is saying that a perfect devotee is somebody who is not disturbed by the uh, desires being arising from the senses, just like an ocean is achalam pratishtham. Is achalam even if there is either water being added by the rains or evaporated by the heat of the sun. So uh, that's what I wanted to share. Now today is also um, the appearance day of Lalita Devi, one of the primary Ashtasakhis, and there is, I think we are over time, but I'll quickly glorify her. Uh, Read from. I had a couple of pastimes to share, but we'll run over time. This wonderful book written by Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj, Srimati Radharani, and in there are few pastimes if you want to um, um, meditate on Lalita Devi. But Lalita Devi is one of the primary Ashtasakhis of Radharani. Her mother's name is Sharada. Her father's name is Vishoka. Her bodily color is of Gorachan, and her cloth is the color of peacock feather. Lalita's kunja is the color of lightning. Her bhava is Vishuddha Khandit. She is expert at playing the veena, and her seva to the divine couple is offering them tambula, betel nut. Lalita Devi, um, I'll take another 2 minutes just to share this pastime, this wonderful pastime, where there is a metaphorical and historical, both the angles to it. Is that one time these Brijavasi boys, they were very naughty, and they were bothering a jackal. And jackal is, Radhanath Maharaj explains that jackal is a animal which is uh, in the mode of ignorance. There are, if it's howling, it's very sharp to the ear. It's not. It's called very. It's unauspicious, and it's not bearable. When other animals like a peacock or birds are chirping, it's very musical. Even if a lion is roaring, that's very reverential, but not the howling of jackal. So these Brijavasi boys were actually bothering a jackal, and it went into a hole. So they set a fire around to burn it alive. Now, this jackal started howling, and Radharani, Srimati Radharani, uh, heard this howling, and she called on Lalita Devi to go and see that who is calling, who is crying in the Brajamandal. And she went and she saw this sea jackal who was in the hole and was surrounded by the fire set by Brajavasi boys. Uh, and she extended her hand to the jackal, but jackal was very apprehensive and what was not taking the hand. But then, after some try, the jackal took the hand of Lalita Devi and she brought her to uh, Srimati Radharani. And Srimati Radharani caressed her, and all the problems of the jackal went away. And then Maharaj, Radhanan Maharaj explains, and then His Holiness Barsana Maharaj also New Vrindavan, he told me this story, and both of them explain that this burning of the uh, jackal is like we are surrounded in this uh, material world. We sing this Sansara Dawa, the leader Loka, every morning. So it's like that. And then Lalita Devi, just like uh, our gurus who are connecting us to parampara, they are representing the Lalita Devi. That's the metaphorical angle. We may not have a quality, just like a jackal didn't have the quality, but just by the mercy, and then once we hold the hand, once we follow the path, once we uh, follow the instruction, then we are just like Lalita Devi took the jackal to Srimati Radharani. The Guru's instruction will take us to Krishna. So this is the historical and metaphorical angle to it. So I just wanted to say this. We'll stop here and see if there are any. We already over 5 minutes over, so I really apologize for that.
Okay, thank you very much, Akhilesh Krishna Babu. We would like to wish you all a safe and Krishna conscious day ahead. A auspicious day of the appearance of Lalita Saki, which is also called as Lalita Sasti, but the close, confident, dainty associate of Srimati Radharani. And we'd like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Nrsingo Jai Nrsingo Jai Jai Nrsingo Praladesha Jaya Padmamukha Padmalingam Ugravira Mahavishnu Jalantam Sarvatomukam Nrsingham Vishnu Bhadram Nitya Mityam Namamiham Nrsinga Bhagavana Ki Jai Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Let's offer our humble obeisances to all the assembled devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhasya Patitanam Pavanime Vaishnave Namo Namah Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Grandad Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande.
Thank you, Akhilesh Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you, everybody.
Hari Prabhu. Hari Prabhu.